Everyone, welcome to another one of our videos in the series we're doing for MND Awareness Week. As you know, all this week we're joined by people who have influenced my journey with MND, supported the charity, and have experienced the disease themselves. And today I will let our guests introduce themselves, but just to give you their names, it's Andy and Victoria Stonehouse, and here they are with a little introduction.
Hi everyone, thank you for the introduction, Sam. My name's Victoria and I am Sam's sister.
And I'm Andy, I'm Victoria's husband and I'm Sam's brother-in-law.
And what is it that makes you join us today? What have you done for the charity?
So a little while back, we collaboratively wrote and illustrated a book, a children's book called Lily and Sam, and it was inspired by, there's the book. I have to say I had no part in illustrating. I can't draw a stick man, so we co-wrote it, but Andy can take all the credit for the illustrations, not myself. And the book was inspired by the relationship that Sam has with our daughter, Lily. And we wanted to do something to help Sam's charity. And we'd written a couple of other children's books previously, and we thought this would be a good way to help raise awareness of the disease and also raise some money to help the charity.
Thank you ever so much for doing the books. Now, one of the things we're trying to do this week is get perspectives of MND, not only from my point of view, but from caregivers and loved ones' point of view. So could you just tell us how your experience of MND has been from your perspective?
So, as your sister, I would say that from diagnosis to today has been an incredibly difficult journey, probably one of the toughest things that I've ever had to face. It's very difficult to firstly get your head around what you're being told and understanding what the future might hold or not. And then your thoughts obviously turn to you, Sam, as my brother, and what you're going through personally, and Emma as a couple. And then you experience the wider effect that has on your family. And then you delve deeper into the effect that it has on you personally. And it certainly changes your perspective on things, what's important. It's puts a lot of things into perspective, but it's very real and surreal when somebody tells you that the person you love and that you're so close to has a disease that has no cure and has no, in the beginning, hope for any kind of good outcome. And that's incredibly difficult to get your head around, because all you want to do when somebody's unwell is to help and to make things better, and to know that there's nothing medically that can be done. There's nothing you can do to fix the problem is very, very difficult. So you go through a grieving process, particularly in the first, I would say, year, because you are having to come to terms with the fact that something you've taken for granted, your little brother being here, might not be the case. So on a serious note, to think that you might outlive your little brother is not something you ever imagine you would have to talk about or feel or go through. And it's been an incredibly difficult journey, and to watch the rest of my family cope with this, particularly my parents and my sister, has been devastating. And I would say I'm just so grateful that we're such a close family, because the love and support we've been able to give Sam and Emma, some people don't have that. And we're very fortunate that we do have that. And I'm incredibly grateful for the small things that to some people might not seem small, but Sam's voice hasn't changed. So if I speak to Sam on the phone, it's like he's the same Sam. And I'm so grateful for that, because he's funny, he's intelligent, and he still has the ability to take the mickey out of me on every given opportunity that is available to him. Now that time has moved on, if I dwell too much on what Sam can't do, then I find life difficult to cope with. So I try to focus on what Sam can do. And that brings me joy, because I know that he's incredibly positive, and that makes me positive, because it would be very easy to dive into a lot of dark places. But through family support, Sam and Emma's mental stability, positivity, drive, you know, it's still a incredibly difficult, stressful, upsetting situation. However, every day that Sam's here is a blessing, and it's a hell of a journey for anybody that's diagnosed with a terminal illness with no cure.
From my perspective, I mean, Bee's explained it pretty well. I guess I see the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster that everybody's going on, friends and family, but also Sam himself, and in terms of coping with being told about the diagnosis, and then at each stage of, as time passes, I guess, the things that Sam loses over time. Every day is his best day, and that's very difficult to watch someone go through that. And we try as best we can to help, and to, I guess,
Be normal.
be normal as much as we can,
Yeah.
but help as much as we can as well. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough doing that. But I think there are. I mean, it's amazing to see Sam's positivity. I'm just amazed at how well you cope with it. I don't think many people would cope with it in the same way you have. But I think that comes down to your life as a triathlete and your Ironman experiences. You've got a willpower, you've got a strength, a fortitude, a determination, which is just fantastic, and you've carried that self-belief and that determination through into what you're coping with right now, which is, for us, unimaginable, really. It's difficult for us to put ourselves in your shoes, but we're there for Sam, and we always will be.
Thank you very much for that. It means a lot. So tell everyone a little bit about, because this wasn't your first foray into children's books. So tell us a little bit about where the Lily books started and what they cover.
I guess through your diagnosis, Sam, I watched. So Lily was probably 3 at the time of your diagnosis, and you had a relationship with her already. And unfortunately, Lily probably won't remember you before MND. And I watched your relationship grow, and you were dealt, this devastating news, and we all were as a family, and you were as a couple. And I watched you one day, and I just thought, Lily has no idea about what disease you have and how your life has changed, and I just watched you and just remember thinking that you were just Lily and Sam. You have a great niece uncle relationship, you have fun, and I wanted us to capture that in some way, because often you see people with disabilities and you're not quite sure how to react or behave. And I remember you walking to school with me once, Sam, to pick her up, and the children were looking at you, and you were chuckling, saying, they don't have that filter. They just look, and they just kind of,
they see something different and they just go, "Well, what's that?" And they just
why is there a tube in his nose? Why is he in a wheelchair? What? And they have no filter, and it made you chuckle. And I just remember, and it was prior to that actually with the book. I just thought, you have such a lovely relationship with Lily. I wanted to capture it, and I wanted to get the message out for us to try and get the message out there that just because you have this debilitating disease, it doesn't mean that your relationship with your niece has changed, and it doesn't mean that you can't still fulfill activities together and have fun together and go places. And you have done, and you do. And our Lily's Adventure book storybook series is all about Lily's experiences in life as a young 2, 3, 4-year-old child, experiencing things for the first time.
So yeah, so Lily and Sam is about their relationship and about solving problems. And we talked about Sam about the book, and we felt it was really important that they helped each other. Sam helped Lily solve a problem, and together they worked to basically, it's about fixing a part which is broken. So that's it. And along the way, they get help from Grandad Stash, which is Sam's dad. They get help from a little hedgehog, and some other little guest characters as well. So the MND is kind of in the background, if you like, and I think that's really resonated with people. We've
I would agree.
Shared it with a few people. So it's about diversity, it's about inclusivity, it's about the fact that you can have fun and you can help each other no matter what situation you're in.
Yeah, and I think you've just reminded me as you've been talking that this wasn't just an idea. There's genuine kind of history there between Lily and I, and that from that point of view. I always remember being around at yours, Victoria, one day, not too long after my diagnosis, but I was at the stage where I could still walk, but I was struggling to stand independently. And I think there'd been like a fire over the road.
Yes,
I think your neighbour's garage or shed or something had caught fire. So you rushed through to the front room to see it. And Lily said, "Oh, come and have a look, Sam." And I couldn't stand, and I think you were out of the street. I said, "Oh, I can't, Lily, because I can't get up." So Lily was about 3 at the time, and she just stuck a little hand out. And she just said, "I'll help you." And I thought, it was the sweetest thing, and she didn't obviously quite understand that if she'd have actually tried to help her, I don't think she'd have been all that much physical use to me. But it was the willpower from her point of view that was like, "Yeah, me and Sam, we do stuff together." And I know that a lot of people that I see tell me that they're fed up of seeing me because they've had to read it 3 times a night all week that week. I got on Zoom calls with friends and their children kind of in the background pointing at the screen going, "Sam from the book." So you really did capture it. It's great. But I think one of the things that everyone will want to know is, are there any plans for a sequel?
Well, the big reveal, Sam. So there is a new Lily and Sam book on its way, which features some new characters and a slightly different dynamic this time. So I'm just in the process of illustrating it, which is taking a bit of time, but I'm getting there slowly. So yeah, we've been doing various revisions of the text, but it's in production, Sam. It's in production.
It's not too far away, and it's still along the theme of Lily's Adventure storybooks, which is her first experiences, and this is another example of something that she has experienced along with yourself, Sam, recently, and how you approach things together. So it's the sentiment is the same, but the story is very different.
Briefly introduce a new character that's going to be in the book. So he's currently on the sofa next to me, chewing on one of his favourite treats. So
could be anything.
Anyone who supports Stand MND who hasn't met him yet, This is Bertie.
Hi, Bertie.
He's our Cocker Spaniel puppy, and he will be key. He will be key to the next Lily and Sam book.
Yes, he certainly is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh.
And Andy's illustrations of him are fantastic. I have had a sneak.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's quite a fun character to illustrate, to be honest. And he's got a nemesis in this book as well. So
Yeah, he has, and it's not Lily.
Excellent. Oh, I think he's coming back.
Oh, here he is. He's back. Hey, Bertie Boo.
Hello, Bertie. Yeah, he's being very well behaved today. I mean,
Look at his face.
Sure, he's very well behaved in the book as well.
Oh, he nearly cancelled the phone call then.
Lily and Sam is still on sale, and do you want to let people know if they want to learn more about the series or want to purchase Lily and Sam, where they can get that and what sort of formats it's available in?
Yeah, sure. So we have a website called adventuresoflily.com where you can find out more about the characters, the books in the series, and there are links on there to purchase through Amazon, and the books are available to buy as a paperback or as a Kindle version.
Yeah, so you can buy them directly from Amazon.
Thank you for all the amazing work you've done on the books. It was really good to hear from you, and I hope it was interesting for our viewers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.